So I don't really want to spend like a whole podcast harping on just this one thing. But there's another example of this that actually came out just today. Story that seems to have broken via Greg Wisniewski from ESPN, basically talking about an interview that Matt Tkachuk gave to People magazine. So as it just so happens, Matt Tkachuk is about to be a father. You know, I don't really like him, but hey, you know what? Great for him. And he gave an interview to People magazine talking about this. And what he had to say about it was apparently shocking to a great number of people. And apparently it was something so simple as, I'm just going to read this off another device here. The quote is, well, they asked him about whether or not they knew the gender of the baby. And he said that no, they didn't. And they're not going to do like a gender reveal, but they kind of asked him about whether or not he would like to have a boy or a girl. And apparently all he really said was, and I quote, I mean, at some point, would definitely have to have a boy. And that's it. And that just drove these people off. This drove these people off the edge. And fuck, I can't. If I'm gonna defend Matt Tkachuk, I can't do it if I'm fucking dressed like this. Gonna have to make a little costume change here. Can't do it fucking dressed like that. Might as well go all in. These people are this goddamn stupid. Like, why not? Yeah, it's all fucking bad now. Alrighty. Okay. And you know what? And we're back. And you know what? Might as well go all in. Like, somebody's got to be like these fucking idiots. Somebody has to be their Huckleberry. Might as well go all in on that. I mean, I had thought that over the past couple of weeks here, we had heard some fucking stupid horse shit coming out of these fucking people. But apparently we had no idea. And as much as I don't like Matt Tkachuk any more than literally anybody else on the fucking planet, this is the fucking abyss. No, actually, you know what? I really shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that it's the abyss. So you know what? In Jewish mythology, an abyss is a place of like creation, and all this does is fucking destroy brain cells. Some of these people, like, it is fucking unbelievable. So in particular, the guy that drew my attention here is a guy by the name of, reading it off another device here again, Matthew Auchincloss, and he actually writes for Michigan Sports Daily, which somehow is actually like linked to the University of Michigan, which I would have thought is impossible because this guy is such a nimrod. This is what he actually had to say about it on his Twitter account. Women's hockey just hit 100,000 players, and one of the faces of the NHL is saying this. You could say you hung out with the women's team, but that means literally nothing when you're essentially saying you won't be happy until you've had a boy. Just mask off misogyny. Fuck off, you idiot. Jesus, where do they fucking find these people? Where do they get the idea that it's a good idea to give them a platform on what you would almost think would have to be like at least a somewhat serious like sports publication. You know, speaking of course about the University of Michigan in this case, that apparently this publication is linked to. You know, they take their sports pretty seriously down there. Like the Wolverines, huge hockey program, huge football program. Pretty sure that they're also pretty handy at basketball. And this is what they're pumping out into the fucking ether? Son of a bitch. That is fucking abysmally stupid. You know, these people have definitely tried hard enough to try to find some way that they think that this is some kind of like a misogynistic statement that he doesn't want a little girl. But you know what? Here's a little thought for you. Not that you guys think very much. Approximately 50% of the world's population are male, and approximately 50% are female, right? I mean, it's actually just a little bit more than 50% female, but you get the idea, right? And so then you would think that maybe Matt Tkachuk doesn't plan to stop having kids. Maybe he and his wife don't plan to stop having kids after they've had one kid. So maybe they even plan to have 2 kids. And so then just doing the math here, just kind of doing the math in my head, statistically, I think that the odds are pretty good that if they have 2 kids, that probably they might have a little boy. Maybe they even decide that they're not going to stop after 2. Maybe they decide that they're going to have 3. And so then you would think that at that point, the odds are pretty good that we'll probably have at least one little boy. No guarantee of that, of course. I mean, there are families out there that do manage to have like just child after child after child of one gender. But you just have to consider this in terms of the probability, right? And who knows? Maybe they don't even stop after 3 kids. Maybe they decide that they want to have 4 kids. And so then you have 4 kids, and you think to yourself that eventually, yeah, you probably have to have a little boy. This is not fucking complicated. But one thing that's been going on seems more and more over the last little while, and definitely more and more since hockey became such a big, since Twitter became such a hotbed for hockey talk, you get these performative fucking boot-licking fucking imbeciles. I mean, you know the ones that actually have like pronouns in their bios, and they have to have pronouns in their bios. Gotta have them, they gotta be there. Can't do without them. Otherwise, we'd never know. Otherwise, we would never guess. This guy here, I kind of feel like, yeah, we would. You'd never guess that in a million years. And this is all they want to do is they just want to check boxes and kiss ass and suck up to like the most unserious segment of the hockey fan base. I mean, the ones who are basically they're barely interested in hockey. We kind of make this joke now about. 5 teams in your bio and heated rivalry, right? Like that kind of fan. All the same ones who fainted when Donald Trump made like the silliest little schoolyard, like preschool little joke about, oh, well, we're only going to invite the girls because we have to, ho, 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 and got mad at the team because they laughed at that joke. And it was really kind of more like, this guy kind of a laugh rather than like an actual laugh because you found the joke funny. These people that the mainstream sports media seems to would just insist on pandering to just more and more and more and more. And probably the reason why the rest of us are losing interest in what they have to say more and more and more and more. I'm just going to float a radical idea out here for the folks at Michigan Sports Daily. If you were to say get rid of that guy, you could probably replace him with somebody who's actually interested in sports. You could at least kind of replace him with somebody who can comprehend like very simple common math. Like the whole yeah, if Matt Tkachuk keeps having kids, eventually he would have to have a boy. That's not fucking hard to figure. That's not hard to figure out. And the simple fact of the matter, I mean, literally, the simplest fact of the matter is that unless you're just like a crazy person, the only way that you could even find offense in a statement like that is if you are trying just way too hard to do it. But same thing with this, with congratulatory phone call. The only way that a person could find offense in that is if you're just fucking trying way too hard. And these people are definitely trying way too hard.